Okay, if you're using WordPress for anything, you need to listen up. The way we build websites is going through a massive, and I mean massive, revolution. It's completely changing the game, and it all comes down to one big idea: block themes. So let me ask you this. Have you ever felt totally trapped by your own website's design? You know that feeling, right? You just want to move the logo a little to the left, or maybe change how your blog posts look, but you can't. You're completely locked in. Every tiny change means you have to call up a developer. It's this super common frustration, but it's one that's finally getting solved. All right, so here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we're going to talk about what I call the old WordPress wall, the frustrating limits of classic themes. Then we'll put classic and block themes side by side. After that, we'll dive into the incredible design freedom you get and how this is also a game changer for developers. And then, of course, we'll talk about how you can actually make the switch and why doing it is so important for the future of your website. For the longest time, WordPress has run on what we now call classic themes. Now, don't get me wrong, they were great for their time, but they were built on this really rigid structure. You had these code templates and fixed areas for your content, and that was pretty much it. And what that meant was, if you didn't know how to code, your creative options were, well, they were pretty tiny. Here's a good way to think about it. A classic theme is kind of like a pre-built model car. Sure, you can give it a new paint job, you can change the colors, maybe the fonts, but you can't actually change the shape of the car. You can't move the wheels or redesign the hood without taking the entire thing apart. You are basically stuck with the model you were given. And that's where block themes come in and change everything. Look, this isn't just some small update. It's a completely new way of thinking, a whole new architecture. It's the modern solution that's here to tear down that old wall. So let's really see what the difference is. And wow, the difference here is just night and day. With classic themes, you had those rigid templates that required code for any real changes. But with block themes, it's all about flexible, modular blocks that you control yourself in a visual editor. We're literally moving from very limited customization to pretty much total customization. And when you get into the nitty-gritty, you see how deep this change goes. Editing used to mean digging into complicated code files. Now, it's direct visual editing right in the site editor. The whole structure of a site has shifted from these fixed layouts to modular blocks and patterns you can place anywhere. And for developers, it's a huge move away from what could become a real mess of tangled code towards a clean, modern, and reusable system. This isn't a small thing. This changes the workflow for everyone. So, let's talk about what this really means for you, the everyday user who isn't a coder. This whole revolution is really about one thing: putting the creative power back where it belongs, in your hands. It's about unlocking a level of design freedom we just haven't had before. And this is the big promise, the headline right here. For the very first time in the history of WordPress, you get total visual control over every single part of your site. I'm talking header, footer, everything in between, and you can do it all without writing a single line of code. So how does this actually feel? Well, you can now edit your page templates with a simple drag and drop interface. You can change your site's entire color palette or all the fonts with just a couple of clicks. You can even build these reusable patterns, like say a perfectly designed call to action box, and then just drop them in anywhere you want. It's amazing. And you can finally control spacing and layouts visually. No more fighting with code to get things to line up. Okay. Theory is great, but let's see how this works in the real world. Let's take a look at a fictional blog called Travel Diaries. They wanted to create a much more engaging, immersive experience for their readers. So their problem was pretty common. They had a very conventional, kind of flat layout that came with their old classic theme. It was boring. By switching over to a black theme, they could suddenly use all these rich media blocks to weave beautiful images and videos right into the flow of their stories. And the result? A blog that was way more visually interesting, which led to much better storytelling and, you guessed it, way higher reader engagement. But hang on, this isn't just about designers and content creators. You might think this is just a front-end thing, but this new architecture is a massive leap forward for developers too, the people actually building these sites from the ground up. For developers, the whole idea can be boiled down to two powerful phrases: cleaner code and better collaboration. Block themes just create a more modern, organized, and way more efficient development environment. Because everything is now a self-contained modular block, developers can build these components once and then reuse them all over the place. That means way less redundant code and fewer chances for bugs to creep in. It also makes updating and maintaining a theme so much simpler down the road. And here's a big one for teams. Because the components are separate, multiple developers can work on different parts of a site at the same time without tripping over each other. It's a huge workflow improvement.
So let's see how this plays out for a business. We'll take an e-commerce store. Let's call it Crafted Goods. They had a wide range of products, and they needed a much more dynamic way to show them off.
Their old theme had these really rigid product layouts. They were super hard to customize for special promotions or to highlight new arrivals. So using a block theme, their developers built a set of flexible, custom product blocks. The result was a much smoother shopping experience for customers and, here's the important part for the business, a real measurable boost in sales. All right, so you're probably thinking, this all sounds amazing, but it also sounds difficult. Is it hard to switch? And the good news is, the path to get there has been designed to be really straightforward. It really boils down to just a few steps. First things first, just make sure your WordPress site is running version 5.8 or something newer. Second, just pop over to the official theme directory and find a block theme that you like the look of. Third, activate it and start playing around in the new site editor. And last, just do a quick check to make sure your must-have plugins are compatible. And most modern plugins are these days. It's that simple. So let's wrap things up by looking ahead to the future. Because choosing a block theme isn't just about getting cool new features today. It's actually a really important strategic move for the long-term health of your website. And here's the bottom line, the most important takeaway. Block themes are built on the very foundation of WordPress itself, the block editor. That means as WordPress grows and evolves, block themes are designed to evolve right along with it. Classic themes, on the other hand, are built on older tech. They run the very real risk of being left behind, becoming outdated, and maybe even incompatible in the future. There's a quote that really just nails it. This isn't about chasing the latest trend. It's about using the best and latest tools to build better websites. Websites that are more dynamic, more user-friendly, and ready for whatever the modern web throws at them. So that leaves us with one final question for you to think about. Take a hard look at your own website. Is it built with the flexibility to grow and adapt to the future? Or is it stuck in the architecture of the past? It's definitely something to consider. Thanks for watching.